Hello, hockey fans. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern, there will be a broadcast on Sportsnet, also on NBC Sports Network. And I will be doing a live stream. I believe I've got it set to start at 2:45 tomorrow Pacific, 5:45 Eastern. There's a 37.5% chance of complete and total rage when they do this. So I wanted to put this on the board because it's important to note when you're looking at which teams should get the number one draft pick, and people are going to say, well, those teams shouldn't because they were in the playoffs. They're not anymore. So there's some issues. Four of the teams on the board here have never won the Stanley Cup. One of them last won it in 1967. You know of whom I speak. One of them it was 1990. One of them it was 1994. And yes, one of them it was 2017. But round two was accessible to the Oilers in 2017. Round two was accessible to Florida in 1996, to Minnesota in 2015, Nashville 2 years ago, the Rangers 3 years ago, Pittsburgh 2 years ago, Winnipeg 2 years ago, and for Toronto 2004. I know. And for Toronto fans right now, you're like, great, you're just piling on. I don't mean to. This was a video idea I had a couple days ago, and I was like, all right, well, whoever's out. And so 24 and under is important. So Lafreniere is going to get added to one of these rosters. And no, whatever team wins the draft lottery is not trading the pick. That's not happening. That's not what you do when there's a player of Lafreniere's status. And I've seen people asking, well, is he McDavid? Well, no, he's a winger, so he's not going to have the same status as, say, a McDavid. But he's a pretty dynamic player. He's pretty much good at every part of the game. So if he joins the Oilers, I went with star players who are 24 and under. McDavid, Draisaitl, and you can argue Ethan Bear on the blue line is emerging as a pretty solid defensive defenseman, and how much offense is there, we'll see. Florida, they have Barkov and Ekblad. Everybody else is older than 24. So I wanted to go with 24 and under as just this is the core that he'd be growing with. Minnesota, you have Kaprizov, who we'll see whether or not he is worth all the hype, but you also have Fiala and Eriksson Ek. So even though it feels like Fiala's been in the league for a while, he is not that old. And Eriksson Ek, I think, is still developing. I think he's going to be pretty solid next year offensively as well. Nashville, you have Dante Fabro. Nashville is not a team of a bunch of young guys. So, in reality, I'm wearing Nashville because I'm saying, you know what, if they pull up Nashville's card tomorrow and they say Nashville's won the number one draft pick, I'm not actually all that upset about it. No. This is the first time they've been out of the playoffs in a bit, but they could use that dynamic forward. You look at how Arizona shut them down. And they could use that dynamic forward that I think that might be what they'd envisioned Duchesne to be or Johansson to be, but they need that, and Lafreniere should be that. The Rangers, they have Kakko, DeAngelo, and Fox. And what they do in the offseason with DeAngelo, because he's RFA again, that'll be interesting. Of course, Fox was fantastic, and Kakko, in their 3-game sweep at the hands of the Carolina Hurricanes, you can at least take some solace in the reality that Kakko seems to be taking steps. He's getting better. So next season he should be pretty solid, and you add a dynamic force like Lafreniere to that roster, and you're even better. Pittsburgh, the best I could come up with 24 and under, Jared McCann and Marcus Pettersson. So Pittsburgh is the team that everybody rages about, right? You can't put him there. He can't go there. Yes, Pittsburgh got Crosby. Pittsburgh got Lemieux. Pittsburgh didn't win Stanley Cups with Lemieux and Crosby until they had surrounded those teams or surrounded those players with really good teams. So it's not just a matter of drafting Lafreniere and then Pittsburgh's back. It's a matter of drafting Lafreniere should they win tomorrow and surrounding him with a team that can win. And it has to be the right defense. It has to be the right goaltending. And what we saw against Montreal was good goaltending, not necessarily great at a time where you need great goaltending, and the defense was mediocre at points. So they're not a team with a whole bunch of young players. We have seen for years now where Pittsburgh, because they've been in the playoffs for so long and because they've been good for so long and because they trade first-round draft picks, their prospect pool has been really shallow for a long time. So if they get the win tomorrow, I'm going to expect a bunch of rigged comments, but honestly, Pittsburgh could probably use a top-notch prospect at a time where, Crosby's 33, Malkin's getting older, and this is an issue. Winnipeg, of course, they have Connor, Laine, Ehlers, Roslovic. Now, the spot that was picked, that became the placeholder, that would have been Winnipeg's. So I don't know that Winnipeg's necessarily been on the phone to the NHL saying, "Can we have that pick? Can we have that?" Because we were the ones that were going to get it. Now we're out. Can we just have it? Just don't have the lottery. Just give it to us. Honestly, you add Lafreniere to that young group that they have. That is one insanely talented team in Winnipeg, and I know Winnipeg fans are probably like, Shannon jinxed us by making a video about us. I said I didn't see a Canadian team winning the Stanley Cup this season. So I never said, Winnipeg's going to win the Cup this year. Just, I think Winnipeg's got a good chance at winning one at some point. Not this year. And I still don't think a Canadian team wins the Stanley Cup. And I don't think I'm necessarily going to be stepping on any toes there, because I don't think Flames fans, Canuck fans, or Montreal fans necessarily see that in their future this season. We're just all glad to still be playing hockey. So, honestly, if Winnipeg wins it, that's just an embarrassment of riches they have up front. Now, if Toronto wins it, they have Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Sandin I have as a key guy on this roster. I'm honestly surprised Sandin wasn't in the lineup tonight, because they need a little bit of offense on that blue line. And it kind of felt like there were a couple of redundant pieces out there. Defensemen do the same thing, and I thought Sandin would have given him a different look. But again, I'm not going to claim to be smarter than Sheldon Keefe. I don't do that. And, I just see these bewildering things, and I go, I guess that guy's out. And we'll see how it plays out. So I would expect Sandin to be a regular next year. He'll be in the top 6 and probably a key guy going forward. And they're counting on him. And Timothy Liljegren, I guess I could have had up there too. But Toronto does have some curiosities. Adding Lafreniere would allow them to trade somebody and free up some cap space, so they don't have to worry about losing a bunch of players or fix their blue line. But again, if Toronto, I would expect on the rage meter, it'll be highest if Pittsburgh wins, second highest if Edmonton, yes, and then Toronto would be third on the rage meter. I don't think people are going to get too upset if Winnipeg, Rangers, Nashville, Minnesota, or Florida win it. But let me know in the comment section below why I'm wrong on that, because I'm sure that there's somebody who's going to say, I'll be raging. So I also wanted to add to this, I've been getting votes on who you think will win round 1 of the playoffs. Now, the channel was 2-6 on the play-in, and I was 1-7. That's why I'm bowing out. I'm not even going to try to predict. I'm going to leave it up to the channel to make a prediction, so I'm just going to throw this up here. St. Louis is leading the vote over Vancouver. Vancouver, last I saw, was about 40% in the vote. Calgary's heavily favored over Dallas. Vegas is favored over Chicago by a wide margin. Colorado's favored over Arizona. The interesting thing with this is home ice advantage, home ice advantage, home ice advantage. These are 3 teams coming off of the round robin. So odds are probably one of them loses, and Calgary winning over Dallas. I saw one comment from a Flames fan saying, I hate this because when we're favorites, we lose. So, and they won in the last round where 65% of the vote went to Winnipeg in the last round, so we'll see. And then out east, a lot of people picking Carolina, and while Bruins fans might be upset, I will discuss it tomorrow when I do the preview for the other 5 series. I will discuss why people are going to take Carolina and why I myself would probably vote for Carolina. I don't vote in any of these, but I think Carolina looked way better in the play-in round than Boston did in the round robin, and the idea of just turning it on, I think that's a little naive. Washington's favored over Carolina. That's actually a much more widespread vote in favor of Washington than I expected. Philadelphia's unsurprisingly favored over Montreal, and I had to get this one up before the video, and early enough before the video that I could say, here's where the channel's leaning. Channel's leaning towards Columbus over Tampa again. While there are comments under that saying, hey, Tampa's not going to blow this again. They've learned. And I heard that from the pundits today. I would not necessarily be surprised. It won't be a sweep. I say it won't be a sweep, and somebody's going to screen grab this and throw it onto a video somewhere, whether it's Tampa or Columbus or whatever. I'm wearing Nashville gear, so I think I'm good. But I don't think it'll be a sweep again. But things get interesting from here. We're into the round of 16. This means 8 teams have left the bubble. It gets a little easier for the NHL to manage this, and you don't have to do as much testing. Now that's dropped by a third, and you don't have as many concerns. You can probably see some staff going as well. And because I think it's 52 people for each team that's in the bubble, so that's 52 times 8 that have left. things get a lot easier and a little cheaper for the NHL. And again, I think this is a blueprint for something we may see a similar version of when we get to the regular season next year, depending on where we're at as a globe in December. I think we'll see the NHL do something a little different. I don't think for people who are going to say, well, players won't stay away from their family for 6 months. I don't think the NHL will expect that. I don't think that's something that even the NHL would say, oh yeah, we can do that. But I think there will be something done where you're keeping them in as safe an environment as possible so you can get the games played. So that'll be interesting to see. But that's in December, which we're in now mid-August. So honestly, it's an abbreviated off season that we're going to see once things are done in October. But between now and then, I'll be here watching all the hockey. We will likely get the schedule tomorrow for all of the play-in round play-in round. See, I'm in play-in round territory. Playoff round 1 games, and I can do a little video on that as well. We'll see how many back-to-backs there are, because again, they want to hurry this up a little bit without hurting the integrity of it, to make sure that this gets played out. You have all your best of 7s done, and yet players aren't being asked to stay in this bubble environment for 3 or 3.5 months. All right. Thank you guys very much for, let's see, September. Yeah, no, that's about right. It's a little over 2 months that are being asked to do this. So, hey, thank you guys so much for all your support all the way through. And tomorrow we will be doing this. And as a final mention, we're doing a bracket this year. Again, the NHL Bracket Challenge. And so the Hockey Guy will be the official bracket. My wife wants to do prizes for the top 3 finishers. We're still coming out on exactly how to make that work so that all of the right people win prizes. I don't do giveaways on the channel because we've had issues with that in the distant past, which made me say, yeah, I'm not doing giveaways. This is such an absolute hassle. And so we will be doing that, a contest out of that. And yeah, best of luck to everybody there. Currently, it's at over 1,600. I think it's 1,654 last I looked that are in it. So I will post a link in the description below videos because yes, videos still have descriptions. They just hide them now. I don't understand that part. But anyways, thank you guys so much for all your support. Do hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video, and tomorrow it's a big day. And then Tuesday we start seeing how many of these predictions end up being correct. So let me know in the comment section below how many of these you think the channel's going to end up being wrong about. Because again, 2 and 6 on the play-in. The only one that I was different from was I thought Florida was going to beat the Islanders, and the channel picked the Islanders over Florida. Every other play-in, I was right there lockstep. Even with Rangers, 55% thought the Rangers would knock out Carolina, and here we are. So hey, thanks for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.